This is Tom from Numbers Game Lifestyle, and today we're going to be talking about racially diversifying the women that you find attractive, that you really desire. Because I know when I first started trying to handle my relationship life, get better with women, get laid more, I never really focused in on any one race. For me personally, I really have no racial preferences. I find all races attractive. You know, Beauty is beauty. It doesn't matter what kind of, skin color she has or what kind of race she is. You'll find attractive women in any race. So to me, zeroing in on one race in particular that, I'm only going to approach these type of women. I'm only going to approach white women. I'm only going to approach Asian women. I'm only going to approach black women. To me, that is completely stupid, right? Beauty comes in any racial form, and you're going to limit yourself to one race? I mean, hot women, beautiful women are very difficult to come by. So why would you limit yourself to only one race? You know how small your dating pool gets when you want to date hot chicks, but you only want to stick with one race? I mean, that's ridiculous. Hot women are difficult enough to come by. Why would you shrink that dating pool even more? Okay, so what brought this topic up is I see a lot of guys, usually Asian or Southeast Asian, that only want white chicks. Right? They want to get with white chicks. That's their big prize. I want to get with white chicks. Okay, great. But yeah, you're probably going to have to change a few things about yourself in order to make that a reality, especially when you start at ground zero without any experience with Asian women, without any experience with brown women, without any experience with any women whatsoever. But you're going to go no, I'm only going to approach white women. That's the main goal. That's the only women I find attractive. And you realize how dumb that is. Women typically, in most cases, they're going to stick to their own race. They're going to get into relationships with women or with guys of their same race. That's the majority of women, right? They stick within their race. So you going from zero experience with women and then jumping into a situation where you're probably not going to be the most successful because women tend to want to stick with their own race in most cases. Asian women will want to stick with Asian guys. Black women want to stick with black guys. White women want to stick to white guys. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. But yes, of course, dating out of your race is super easy. I've been with any kind of race you could imagine, from, any shade of any race, of any country. I've been there, done that. And yes, there's beauty in all races, and all of them have their own pros and cons, but they're women at the end of the day, and they all behave in roughly the same way. They're all attracted to the same things and repelled by the same things. So what is my advice for guys that want to get white chicks and they're Asian or Southeast Asian? Start with the ones of your own race. That's where you're going to build up all of your experience. I've had a couple of run-ins with guys that wanted my advice about how to get better with women. And then I'm asking them, I'm like, okay, it seems like you're approaching a lot of white girls. Have you ever approached any Asian chicks? And they're like, no. Why would I do that? I'm only attracted to white chicks. And I'm like, dude, I see hot Asian chicks with guys that look like you every day of the week. I can walk outside my door and see it happen. It's my reality. I can see it day in and day out. But I virtually never see a white chick with a guy that looks like you, right? That's the name of the game. You can't see it. So why are you beating your head against the wall? Now, obviously, Asian guys can get with white chicks, but they have to have a few things that separates themselves from the normal, run-of-the-mill average Asian guy. And usually it is height. Height is a big thing. or muscles, they're bigger than average, more muscular than average, or they have some kind of edge that makes them look a little more dangerous, a little more threatening, a little more masculine. And if you get all those bases covered, yes, doors will open up to you to more like edgier girls, like white girls. You'll appeal more to them. But I mean, like, before you get there, you can't just be like beating your head against the wall thousands of times. I've approached 1,000 white chicks and I have nothing to show for it. Then there needs to be some drastic changes. Whereas if you would have approached 1,000 Asian chicks, you would have racked up so many wins. He would have had like gotten laid a bunch. He would have gotten a girlfriend or two, maybe like friends with benefits. And he would have had like so much more experience to understand women and what they're like, that it would have been a lot easier to go like, okay, now it's time for me to like, start approaching white chicks again. And bam, he'd have all of this experience, this previous experience build up, that it would be hell of a lot easier approaching these white chicks and actually getting somewhere with them, right? Getting laid, getting relationships with white chicks, because he's built up all this experience with Asian chicks, right? It's simple. But no, they don't want to do that. They want to jump right in for the only white chicks, only white chicks. I didn't do that. When I wanted to get my my relationship, my sex life handled, I didn't go like, only white chicks for me or only Asian chicks for me. No, I looked and found like, what I saw was that attracted me, and I went for it. I didn't care what race. And that's exactly this way Asians and Southeast Asian guys should be. Get a bunch of experience, and when it comes time to get something serious, maybe you want to have kids with a woman, and you don't want to have kids of your same race, then this is the time to really start working towards approaching like white chicks. You want like half babies, and yes, build up your experience with white chicks. By that time, you've already built up a ton of experience. You know how to act around women. You know how to do how to get laid. What attracts them, what repels them. And you've built up a ton of experience. So by the time you go and approach these white chicks again, it'll be a hell of a lot easier. And you've probably over time made yourself look a little bit more threatening, a little bit more edgy. That'll appeal more to white chicks, appeal more to black chicks, because those are the races that kind of geared more towards like edgy guys. So yes, do not limit yourself when you're first starting off to one particular race. Do you know how ridiculous that is? It's ridiculous enough trying to find attractive women, and now you're going to be like, no, like in my city it's maybe 30% white, 30% Asian, and then 30% brown. It's kind of like split down the middle when the rest are kind of other races. And do you realize like by splitting it up like that and being like, I'm only gonna approach white chicks, that cuts my options down to 70% are cut off immediately. That leaves me with 30% of women immediately cut off. Boom, 70% gone. Do you realize how ridiculous that is? How hard that is when you're trying to find attractive women, and then you're just like, I'm going to cut out 70% of them and I'm going to focus on the 30. And that doesn't even take into account how attractive they are, how attractive you are to them, or how sexually available they are. If any of them are available, like the percentages get smaller and smaller the more you reduce your, racial preferences. It's so dumb. So yes, when you're looking for experience, do not limit yourself to one race, especially not the race that you currently are, because those are the girls that are going to be easiest for you. You're going to rack up a ton of experience with the girls of your race. That'll be the easiest, lowest hanging fruit. And then maybe later, once you've changed the way you look, how you appeal to different races of women, you have a ton of experience with other girls, getting laid, getting relationships, that it'll be a hell of a lot easier to transition to, getting after white girls or going after black chicks, because you've already had a ton of experience, and over time you've probably made yourself more edgy, more masculine, made yourself bigger, made yourself more threatening. Anyways, guys, that's the video. So if you have any problems, accomplishing this, dating white women, or getting to the point where you can, they actually find you attractive, I offer coaching links down below to make yourself more edgy, more appealing to, women of different races. And yeah, I've got you covered there. Anyways, guys, that's the video. Thanks for watching.